All right, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. As always, I am Zach, the Corruption Detector, and this is another edition of Red Pill News. Joining me today for the first time on the channel is Colin Plume from Noble Gold. Colin, what's up, my friend?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on. Nice to be here.
Well, it is my pleasure to have invited you. Certainly appreciate it. So we're going to be talking about silver today because there is quite the uptick in silver value. And I know it's due to a number of different things, but I got a lot of people on my channel who do collect silver, whether it be straight numismatics, collectible stuff, or, you know, just coins that were handed down by their parents or grandparents. I've got, you know, a giant box of silver that my dad had given me, and I collect my own stuff on the side as well. But I mean, what do you want to tell us about who you are and what you do first?
Yeah, so I mean, we help people get silver the way that you got it, where you know you have it delivered to your home, and then we also help people that want to put silver in their IRA. A lot of people don't even know that you can put silver in your IRA. You can put gold and platinum and palladium. There's I try to give people more information than maybe what they're asking for. There's a lot of things that you can put in your IRA besides equities, besides stocks, besides mutual funds, besides bonds. I think that's one of the things that, you know, we've really focused on is that, yeah, we tell people we do precious metals, but we also tell people you can put real estate in there. I had a client many years ago who had a winery that he bought in his IRA,
Wow.
which was, I mean, seems very enticing to me. I think I'd probably drink away my profits, but you know, I think there's just a lot of options out there. And what we focus on is precious metals, which is, you know, they say is an alternative investment, but it's really not an alternative investment. It's not the investment that you see typically on TV all the time, because they want you in equities, they want you in mutual funds. That's where they, you know, the fees and the annual fees are to add up, and that's where a lot of the money is, and the advertising is to get you into that area. But there's a lot of savvy investors that are investing into gold and silver, and a lot of billionaires, Paul Tudor Jones, a lot of stock market predictors were buying gold and silver really heavy last year. There's a billionaire named Naguib Sawari. He put half of his net worth into gold last year, gold and gold stocks, which, I mean, that's incredible to me. A guy that's worth almost $6 billion puts almost $3 billion into gold. So that's an interesting move for someone that, you know, is very typically a billionaire. To get there, they're one of two things. They see value, and they don't want to lose their billions of dollars. So for him to put half his net worth into gold, I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, so we help, you know, all types of people, from, you know, janitors to electricians to doctors. I mean, we're across the gamut in terms of clients that we work with, and we really just try to get people a lot of information about what we do.
So I personally have an old retirement account that for months I've been meaning to move over to you guys because it's not doing anything. It's just I need to actually get into it. But I mean, silver and gold have seemed like a pretty safe investment. It's always been one of those things where you're at least not going to lose your money. But people have been waiting for this spike to happen. And now that we've got all this uncertainty in the market, I mean, it does continue to rise, but I think everybody understands that it's an artificial increase in the price of these stocks, and it's kind of limited to certain, you know, top tier stocks. Everybody else isn't necessarily doing so hot, but right now there's this huge spike in silver, and I mean, what has it traditionally been at?
So that's a great question. I think, you know, you go back to the last time we had a very loose monetary policy was 2008 to 2011, and they were doing quantitative easing, which is basically the Fed was buying back bonds. And they did 3 phases of that. From 2008 to 2011, silver was going up 25 to almost 40% per year, and it peaked at $50 an ounce. Wow. When it hit $50 an ounce in September of 2011, basically the big players, they increased the margin call on the stock market. So, you know, a lot of this is some of the push up has to do with day traders and people that are looking to leverage and hedge funds. So they increased that margin call, which basically ruled out a lot of people out of the markets. And then you saw the market pull back pretty dramatically. And there was a number of lawsuits that happened during that time because there wasn't a lot of people that were aware that they were going to increase the margin call. So that pushed the price of silver down. And then, silver was hanging around between $13 and $14, $15 for many years, but it didn't make any sense that it was there because all the industrial uses for silver have just skyrocketed. Even gold, the uses for gold have gone up, and a lot of medical devices, they're using gold. Cancer research and technology, they're using gold because it's such an incredible metal. It's basically indestructible, and it's good for a lot of medical products. But silver just didn't make any sense. And now you're finally seeing silver, break above 20. It's sitting at $22.40, which for anyone that bought it earlier this year, they're in a tremendous gain, which is fantastic. But yeah, I still think, obviously I mentioned it hit 50 in 2011. And it's really, when you look at gold and silver prices, it has more to do with the value of our dollar dropping more than so much the value of gold and silver. The value of our dollar is it's going to dwindle. They're going to do another round of stimulus at the end of this month. Congress is talking about doing it. And the more they do stimulus, the more they just throw cheap money at it, it makes things that have a limited supply that are in value, like gold and silver, go up. And that's really why investors are looking at it. And it's funny that I know you love this stuff, but I know they're going to do the stimulus at the end of this month because they're going on vacation August 2nd, Congress. So they obviously want to get that in before their timely, second, and this is their second vacation of the summer, which is fantastic.
That just disgusts me. They got to make sure they do something to help the American people so that come November, it's more likely you're going to vote for them. So you guys, every month you guys will generally send me a coin, something cool. This month, my eyes popped out of my head when I saw this. This is a 5-ounce silver quarter. It's huge. Tell me about this, because in the literature it said it had $150 value, but based upon the fact that silver is increasing, that could be worth a lot more in a little bit.
I think in 20 years that coin's definitely worth over 1,000. The cool thing about that coin is that they started the America the Beautiful series in 2011. So whatever's on the back, whatever national park is on the back, the money that is generated from that goes to that national park. So first of all, it's going to something that's staying here in the U.S. Obviously it's a U.S. minted coin, which is great. Also, that it's exactly 5 ounces. There's no questioning how much purity there is. It's 0.999. So you're getting everything you want there. The U.S. Mint sells that coin between $150 and $200, depending on which park is on the back. Some of them are a little bit more desirable. There's one that's from Ellis Island that people really like. But basically, I think that coin is really going to go up for a few things. One, they only make 30,000 of each of the parks, which is a very small amount when you're talking about a newly minted coin. The Silver Eagle, for instance, they make 35 or 36 million per year. They're only going to make 30,000 or less of that specific park. So there's not a ton of them out there. So it's going to have some numismatic value down the road. And I really think to get something like that right now, where silver's still affordable, is really a good way to go. So anybody that's rolling over a qualified IRA will get that coin shipped to them directly. So anybody in July that starts the paperwork or gets going with us, even if it takes a few weeks to get the paperwork, the money moved over, they will receive that coin as a gift from us. So, like your account, and a lot of people have an account like yours where it's just like, the account's there. What do I do? And by the way, that's what the custodians want you to do. They want you to just forget about that money. There is 33,000 or more old 401ks or IRAs that are left dormant every year that people just never move. It's an astronomical number. Now, some people say, it's only got 2,000 in there or 1,000 or 500. Who cares? It's free. The money is free. It's yours. whether you put the money in or you worked at a company that put the money in, it doesn't matter. You should move that money into something that you want. So we help a lot of people help move these old IRAs or 401ks. We have a team that do all the paperwork. Everyone hates to do paperwork. I hate doing paperwork. So we have some people that actually like doing paperwork, and they help you kind of, do that process. And it's online form takes 5 minutes, and then, we really get in there and do the heavy lifting and help you, move the money over, which we're happy to do.
I like that. So getting back to the artificially devalued price of silver, if a metal like that is in high demand, I mean, you see the price of, steel or platinum or all of these other various metals will fluctuate, maybe increase if, the demand increases. How are they artificially keeping the cost of silver and gold down when it is so clear that so many people desire it, so many people want it, they collect it, and it is used for so many different types of products, and the uses are increasing?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no idea. I wish I knew the answer to that. This is what I do know. I did a video about this on my YouTube channel. It's going to come out this week. They say that electric vehicle sales will go up. It'll be 50% of the car sales in the next 10 years by 2030. So they use silver. Silver is used in electric vehicles. In California, they're going to require by next year, all new homes, all new apartments, all new buildings have solar panels. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They use silver in those. So I don't know how they've been able to keep the price down. I know there's been, there's a lot of the big players that don't want you to invest there. And I think they've manipulated, from what I said earlier, just in terms of changing the margin calls and making it more expensive to buy silver. I don't know how they are able to do it, but I do know this: eventually value rises. The greatest investors in the world, Buffett, they always say invest in value. And I know that there is value in the metal. So I know over time they will increase in value. And I also know that money is the way that we're treating money in our government, the Fed. It's never going to change. You're never going to make more than 0.25% in a bank again. Once they realize that people will accept that number, the number is never going to go up. So they are forcing you to go out there and get a decent return. And listen, nobody can guarantee returns in anything, but I can tell you this: if you put money in a bank, just to give you an idea, if you went back to the 1980s, okay, and you put money in a bank or you bought a CD, you make 12%, right? That was sort of the number in the 80s, 12, 13%.
Wow, that's a lot.
to make 12% on 100,000 right now, it would take you almost 20 years of the current amount you would make in a savings account. You used to make it in 1 year. Now it takes you 20 years to make that same return. So the moral of the story is you have to do something with the money. You have to get it out there. Gold has been great. Gold's up, 28, 29%. Silver has obviously been moving. So you have to look at your options. And so if you're not making between 8 and 10% a year in whatever you're doing, you're really losing a lot of money.
I would have to agree with you. What about the idea that the United States might change the currency system, going back onto the silver standard or the gold standard or some combination of precious metal valuation for the value of the dollar?
Yeah, I don't think it's unrealistic. They'd have to tie it to something. So, and we were on a gold standard, right? I mean, there was a reason why we were on a gold standard. Being on a gold standard kept the government in check because they could only print enough dollars that were backed by gold. So it's a good idea. Maybe we can't go on a fully backed gold system, but a partially backed gold system would make a lot of sense. It would keep inflation in check because, when you look at wages, right, just annual wages for people, we can't keep up with the amount of inflation that's happening. It's impossible because the government, the way they fix every problem is they just spend more money. And this is across the board on both sides. I don't think there's not one party or another that has stopped the spending, right? Yeah. It's across the board on both sides. So as long as they know that they can spend their way out of a problem, inflation is always going to be an issue, and you always need items that protect yourself against inflation. And I think that, in the long term, we're created a new world, with the pandemic and everything that's happening. I think the one thing I would say that the biggest benefit I think to this whole situation is that people are finally able to spend a few minutes, look at their finances and realize, hey, maybe I'm not in the best place. I got some time now. I can make some moves. So I think it's a new world where you really have to take control of your finances. And that's why a lot of people are calling us and we've been busy, is because they realize like it's finally time. I have the time to do it and I'm ready to make a change. So it's just, you have to take ownership right now. The problem, a lot of people, we help people get into self-directed IRAs. And the joke with the self-directed IRA is that it's good and bad. One, you're the boss. That's the good thing. And the bad side of it is that you're the boss, right? And so some people don't want to be the boss, but ultimately nobody looks after your money, just like nobody looks after your house, right? The way you clean your house, the way, my wife it's amazing. And, we clean and there's things that she could see on the roof that nobody else could see. Yeah. It's the same thing with your money. Nobody's going to treat your money the way you are. And that's why being in control of it is the only way to be. And it's a really important people take those steps right now.
All right. Well, I can totally agree with you there. All right, Colin. Well, what do you want the audience to know, if anything else, that we haven't already gone over?
Just that if they want to learn, if they want to get education about gold and silver, give us a call. We're here. Our phone lines are out. We've extended our hours. Starting next week, we'll be open from 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 6 p.m. So we're Monday through Friday. We're even open on Saturdays for a few hours. So anytime pretty much that they're awake during the day, we're open, and they can call us and get free information and ask a lot of questions. Ask about that silver coin, ask about, anything, gold, silver, platinum. We have a lot of people buying platinum. We can send you information. So I think it really, Zach, the key is right now is just like on your channel, how you're educating people on what's happening and what you see, get some education from us, let us send it out to you, and then you make the decision on what's right for your, financial future.
All right, great. And tell them Red Pill 78 sent you. All
Absolutely.
right. Well, Colin, thanks for joining us today, brother. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to having you back in the future.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.